you.
Welcome, everyone. We're very excited to have you here today with Harry and myself for our first session of Process Automation Live, which is a format of an interview, a conversation, either with a partner or with the customer of Bonitasoft to talk about process automation, more specifically on one given vertical. So on the first episode as of today, we're going to talk about financial services. And quickly to introduce myself, so I'm Michael Dukin. I'm the sales director for Bonitasoft in North America, and I also manage and very happy to manage our partners as well, including Evoke Technologies. Hi again, Harry. I would be very happy if you could introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, definitely, Michael. First of all, thanks for this opportunity, Michael, for having me here and share my experience about Bonitasoft and the Bonitasoft solutions. So myself, Hari Alla, so I'm associate director at Evoke Technologies, part of Business Process Automation Solutions division. I've been working with the Bonitasoft since so 2013. We have implemented multiple solutions to our customer. So today I'm happy to share so the solutions or use cases so as part of this conversation.
Sure, great, Harry. Also, can you quickly share your background? Of course, you can talk about Evoke and what value Evoke brings to projects, with customers who want to start the digital process automation journey. But very interested. Maybe you can share also your overall background in your skill set.
Yeah, so definitely I'm primarily a Java architect, and so I was a full stack developer working as Java and Angular frameworks, delivering the so application development as a so Java based web applications and mobile applications, right? And then we so we came into a situation where along with application development we had to bring certain process automation tools to increase the operational excellence or to increase the productivity of our customers. That's where I came across with the Bonitasoft and other tools where we started leveraging them to implement automations in from our Evoke Technologies to our customers.
Okay. And how large is Evoke's team today within either the BPM practice or the business process management, or with Bonita?
Right. So primarily Evoke is basically so is based out of Hyderabad, India. We focus on delivering solutions that increases end user productivity, enhances customer experience. Today's enterprise world, these are the problems that customers are trying as part of their digital transformation journey or other initiatives. These are the problems that they are focusing today, right? So as part of these initiatives, so we have been using Bonitasoft definitely as a widely used tool as part of these process automation solutions at Evoke. And so we have about 35 plus professionals working with the different customers across manufacturing, pharma and financial services to our customers. And so many of them are certified by Bonitasoft, so certified professionals from Bonitasoft.
So jumping into the industry, Harry, you work with a few of our customers in financial services. Can you share a brief intro or use case, or what were the initial pains or challenges that the customers in financial services that you work with in automation had to tackle?
Right, definitely, Michael. So we have implemented Bonita digital platform to couple of customers. One of them are into wealth management business based out of US. They manage the funds from the large investment banks and fund portfolios into the trading systems. I'll explain a little bit so about that use case. And the second customer where we have implemented is called CRISIL. It's an India company in S&P Global India division. They provide ratings to so the SME businesses in India. Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I lost your the webcam. So to little bit deep dive. So let's focus first on the fund management business that we have dealt with. So if the time permits, I can also happy to share how we implemented process automation for this rating agency. So to start with, so our customer basically, so as I said, they are into wealth management. So they receive funds and fund portfolios from different sources. These sources are basically external to the customer, ecosystem. Basically, they are from external system parties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so these data sources were usually unstructured because we did not have control over those data sources, right? So these funds portfolios that comes as a daily feeds, we have to onboard into our customers trading systems. But as part of this onboarding, what we'll have to do is, because you are dealing with financial data and fund data, it is very important for you to set up this data, right? There is a lot of master data associated with these funds, right? Relationship managers, restrictions, lot of the fund types that you are dealing with. Based on fund type, there are rules associated with it. And as part of these, the before pushing the data into these trading systems, there are multiple teams will get involved to basically the process the data, right?
Sure.
The steps, like there is a team who basically focuses on setting up the basic account data, right? That involves a lot of master data and other associated data sets, right? Close to 250 to 300 fields of data they will have to populate, or the feed into this the as part of onboarding process, and then finally push it into the trading systems. And there is a team who actually deals with only setting up the paperwork for this account, the fund that they are dealing with for that particular account. A lot of paperwork is involved. There is this, the third team who actually focuses on validating the data, and and then basically quality control of this data that is flowing into the before trading it, before putting them into the trading systems, right? So these are multi-stage data teams, analyst teams who gets involved before this data being processed into the trading systems, right? So when this problem was, so they were dealing with, before Bonita platform was implemented, they were dealing with basically, they have different systems. A lot of them were a lot of manual steps they used to follow. Some of the spreadsheets and email communications used to happen between
Sure.
these two, but also they also have certain systems where they feed the data, but they were disconnected. There was no visibility around this process. They were having a lot of inefficiency, bottlenecks in having these operations run this the onboarding process. That's the challenge that they were facing.
Sure. So you shared, the challenges. So typically, when does Evoke arrive in such project? Do you arrive at the beginning of the automation journey? Do you arrive after, your customers or our customers already start doing it themselves and then they are kind of stuck? What do you think what was your role at the pivotal moment as, such project?
All right. It depends on case to case, Michael. So there are situations to customers, so some of pharma customers, we were involved right from the, grounding of the solution, right? Right from understanding the requirements, that is usually we call it as process discovery phase. We go hand in hand, right? But in this case, a special case where we were talking about this fund management company, right? So Bonita was already involved, the Bonita team, the professional services team, they were involved with this customer in building a prototype. So we were not part of evaluation of so choosing this Bonita platform. There could be multiple reasons at that time, how exactly the Bonita will fit into their solution. So we were not part of evaluation phase, but there was a prototype built by Bonita professional services team, which was nicely laid out. The
Yeah,
business really understood the value of Bonita tool in terms of bringing this the process visibility that they are dealing with today. So that's where so being a premier partner for US, Evoke Technologies were involved in converting these prototype solution into a production grade solutions. That's where so Evoke got onboarded into this project. And so we had to deal with a lot of other challenges to convert this prototype into a production grade system.
sure, sure. And what type of expertise or what type of value do you bring to your customers? Is it just focusing on speeding up their developments, bringing them maybe expertise where they don't have it in-house? What is, the range and the broad of assistance and guidance that you can bring in such projects as automation?
Definitely, Michael. So let me explain. So as I said, there were few challenges, right? So when you are converting a prototype into a production grade system, the important aspect that you need to look at is you need to think beyond the process, right? So while you are building a process automation, what we look at is what were the steps involved, what were the forms that the the manual interactions were happening. We basically simplify the problem and do the business case, right? But when you talk about production grade system, typically you need to think beyond the process. That brings a lot of other ecosystem into your solution, right? For example, in this case, I can talk about three challenges that they were facing, how Evoke could bring a value while providing this solution, right? The challenge one, as I was saying, the funds that they receive on daily basis, those were daily feeds, thousands of data sets that they receive, the accounts information, that too into different channels, right? They have email channels. Some customers, some investment banks, they send through emails. Some customers, they send them through spreadsheets. And there were customers who have their web portals, right? So we had to go to their web portals, scrape the data, and feed those data into our trading systems, right? So if you consider this problem, there are a variety of data sources, and the data is unstructured because the data is coming from external parties, right? So in this case, so if you understand, right, so this is a problem to deal with the data processing and data, dealing with unstructured data, not with process orchestration. So this is where Evoke can bring value. Evoke, so we have distinctive competencies. We focus on end-to-end solutions, right? So as part of our, the intelligent due diligence, we understood that this problem has to be solved by RPA framework, right? So we have introduced RPA. Basically, the RPA, basically, the bots that we have deployed, they day to day, on the scheduled basis, they connect to these data sources, these bots, and process this data. We have also added certain cognitive capability because you need to deal with unstructured data. And then this data will be fed into the process engine. Now the process engine starts with the orchestration of the process, right?
Yeah.
This is how we solved this problem. The challenge too in this problem was the user interfaces were really complex, right? So because we were dealing with the 300 to 350 fields, and each field has certain rules associated with it. When you change a field, there are certain rules we need to bring from other systems, because these are financial data, fund related data, right? So the user interfaces were complex. Thanks to Bonita digital platform, lot of process platforms, typically you are limited to build your user interfaces because they focus on orchestration. User interface capabilities are very limited because they come up with their own, the proprietary frameworks. Bonitasoft uses a widely, well-known platform called AngularJS. So in this case, we were not limited. We were able to use the Angular community, Bonita widgets. We were able to provide this complex UI, which is a multi-tab UI, different grids, inline edit grids, wherever is needed for our analysts, right? It
Yeah.
made, so yet we had to build intuitive interface for our customer, right?
So does
The
that mean that
third
in
challenge,
this
yeah.
specific, sorry, Harry, does that mean in this specific project, when it comes to the front end and the UI, you have used the Angular technology provided by the Bonita platform, or you had to integrate with their existing, portals?
So we have used Angular framework provided by Bonita platform. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
right. The third challenge that facing in this solution was, so because we had to think beyond the process. So when we explored this, when we were, so exploring while we are converting into production grade system, what we found was there are multiple downstream systems which were, so listening to this process at different stages of event, right? Different stages of the process events. And there are upstream systems which we have to push the data, like master data and other, financial related data into this process. So we needed to have a, so very robust integration framework. Again, thanks to Bonita digital platform. So Bonita has a robust API framework where you can build your own REST APIs. It also comes up with a lot of REST API framework out of the box. And also it provides you a connector framework through which you can, it made our integration challenge was easy for us, right? We were able to build resilient integrations where if there are any failures, we can recover from those failures, retry, fault tolerant, and so all these scalable aspects we would be able to build with this Bonita integration framework. So this is how Evoke can bring value. Think beyond the process, bring right platforms and tools to build your ecosystem. That's how your solution can scale and adapt to the agility that, which comes, which are unknown, problems that you foresee after your solution go live.
Yeah. And in terms of results or delivery, how does an organization measure the success of such an implementation, or how was it perceived? What value and benefits have they seen on top, of course, of having an automated platform? Of how strategic and how beneficial you think it was for them to measure, to say, we went through that route and we have delivered what we expected, and we have improved, for instance, customer experience, time to execute tasks. I don't know how they were, or how you were able to help them measure that.
Right. Yeah, so typically, so what happens is when it comes to ROI, definitely being a partner, so we will not have enough data to calculate ROI, but so we can directly correlate the way they are doing today, how the process being handled, and so after we implement this process automation solution, how the productivity looks like. So we can do a direct correlation. So in this case, especially what happened was before this process automation was done, their teams, the collaboration was not managed well, right? So out of these three teams who were collaboratively working in this onboarding process, they have, as I said, there were so few systems where they log in, so these systems were disconnected, right? They upload the data and they do certain steps there and they come out, right? If I want to look at where is my process, my onboarding of certain account, I did not have a data because it is not centralized. This is being distributed into few systems, right? So in terms of product, the visibility is one aspect where we were able to bring all these systems connected well into an orchestration layer by using Bonita digital platform. The second aspect is the challenge that they were facing. They had, if they want to do onboard one account, they'll have to deal with multiple interfaces. So first thing, they deal with the different spreadsheets, they manage, enter certain status, and they send it to other team, they feed the data into an interface, right? There were multiple interfaces that they were dealing. The productivity was, so they could not scale the accounts onboarding that they were receiving, right? There was a lot of time delay.
Okay.
The productivity is the direct calculation that we were able to do. So they were able to improve the operational efficiency by today they were able to onboard these customer fund accounts 5 times faster than before implementing this automation platform.
Yeah, no, I think these are good examples. What we see not only in financial services industry, but overall, and you're right to point it out. The KPIs and ROI is not something easy to monitor, but usually the great triggers or KPIs is the time to build, maintain, and evolve the platform. Because
Right.
like having an agile stack of integrated systems with an automated platform is going to help you make it changes on the fly, and how easy it is to maintain with you have developers leaving in and around the company. And second is time to execute tasks and in overall efficiency, or
Right.
what we could all call end-to-end visibility as well. It's
Yes,
definitely something.
it is.
Yeah. And so to conclude on this conversation, before we jump into maybe questions from the audience, what would you advise an audience on how to get started on process automation journey in general? If you have maybe tips and do's or don'ts to share around that.
Definitely, Michael. Yeah, I would be happy to share that. It's an interesting question. Yeah, so there, I mean, two advice based on my experience, because I have been with dealing with process automation solutions more than close to 2013. So we have started, and so so basically 2 points that I can bring onto the table. So hopefully that will help. One, right? So when you are talking about, when you are starting thinking about a process automation solution, so think beyond the process, as I said, right? So what were the systems involved? So process anyway we deal with, right? Because any process automation solution deals with your human orchestration, the rule engines, the transition, BPM annotations. These are all well taken care. There is nothing to worry about that. Any platform will provide this. But what we need to understand is, being a solution provider, we need to think beyond the process. What are the upstream systems that are involved, from which data is flowing in? What are the downstream systems that are involved after this process is being done, where the data can add value to those downstream systems? Sometimes the stakeholders may not be able to give you these because they are outside of the process. They focus only on the process, right? So when you can bring these aspects, your solution can change, right? So that's where you can bring right platforms, right tools to solve these peripheral problems around this process, and that way your solution can be a complete solution, right? you can bring an end-to-end solution for your customer, right? The second point, the second point from my experience is never try to solve all the problems with one platform, right? So let's say in our case, there was unstructured data that we are dealing with. We could have implemented a process where we load the data, you process the data, add certain rules around the data, and then start with process orchestration. But that is not the core competency of the process automation platform. That's the responsibility of your, the RPA tools, other data integration tools, right? So don't spill those responsibilities into process engine. The core competency, understand the core competency of the platform and deal with those core competency problems around that, and take complement platforms like RPA and integration tools to build, so to solve those data problems, right? These are the two things, which which I learned in my experience, which really fit well and helped our customers to scale their solutions.
Sure. And so from your standpoint, also when it comes to sponsorship or who has to be involved in project, is it more led by IT? Is it more led by business? What do you think should be the right split or responsibility in having both business analyst or IT development teams being involved in automation?
Right. Yeah, definitely, because especially when we are doing a business process transformation, business and IT collaboration is very vital. They play a vital role, right? In our case, we recommend, so definitely the business team will involve in the initial process discovery phase. We run different workshop, understand the business problems, talk with the different stakeholders, but we also recommend to get involved this one of the business stakeholder as part of your development life cycle. It could be SDLC or waterfall or agile, whatever you follow. Have this business stakeholder part of your implementation journey. Keep reviewing whatever the process that you are developing. So keep reviewing with the stakeholder on sprint basis, right? In our case, we recommended to have the business stakeholder part of our implementation journey. That really helped us eliminating a lot of gaps while the implementation before release itself. Yeah.
Sure. So moving into a few questions that we've received that we can address today. The first one is, you talk with one of your customers that you have to integrate with RPA, and we hear a lot about BPM RPA from your standpoint, and I'll be happy to address as well from maybe a vendor perspective, but maybe you as a consultant, what difference do you see between BPM and RPA and how they complement or how do they compete in certain cases?
Right. Yeah, definitely there is a little bit confusion about BPM and RPA. Are they replaceable? Can I use RPA where BPM is used? No, it's not. So basically from our experience, so how it works is, so when you have a information that has to flow from between different people, or you wanted to connect different systems, basically this is usually called as an orchestration. Whenever you wanted to do an orchestration of the data, orchestration of the teams and the people, right? So BPM fits well, right? The streamlining of the process, streamlining of the information between the people, bringing the visibility, because you are collaborating with different teams, it is difficult to bring the visibility. That's where your process automation solutions will help. Whereas RPA deals with repetitive tasks, right? You have a task where a human is doing repeatedly, daily. They come in, log into the system, download the data, write some data, extract some data, put it into some system, right? These kind of repetitive tasks, it cannot do orchestration, or it is not recommended to orchestration, though you can achieve in different means. As I said, never try to solve the problems which are not its core competency, right? So in our case, we were dealing with this unstructured data. In our use case, RPA has a cognitive capabilities which comes out of the box, where you can read the data from images, extract the data, build certain cognitive capabilities, convert the data that you are read with a little bit human intelligence into the data that your process engine understands, right? So that's where the RPA was complementary for us to build these solutions that we have done.
Okay, yeah, I agree. From our perspective, the way we see RPA versus BPM is RPA is great at, automated, like you say, repetitive tasks. BPM has more the end-to-end visibility and it can also manage exceptions. Okay, so but what I mean exceptions
Right.
is we have a human behind the screen, and the decision cannot be mimicked or guessed automatically by automated task or system. You need to have human intelligence behind that. So of course, we talk about automation, RPA, but the role of the human is still key today, and this is how with Bonita or BPM in general, collaboration on top of automated task and system is key as well.
Right. Yeah.
Another question. So maybe you could share your experience in helping customers deploying their first application, or usually how long does it take to build a first application, or to build several applications once the first one is implemented? Of course, it's a very
Right.
wide question because it really depends on the complexity of the
Right.
process, the systems
Yes.
involved. But from your experience, what have you seen in maybe being able to guide and give some timeline to the audience around that?
Definitely. Yeah. So definitely, as you said, it depends on it varies from case to case. But from our experience, the way we implement is we wanted to buy the idea quickly, right? So we wanted to take the idea that how the Bonita digital platform can bring the value to the business very quickly. So what we recommend is initially we build a POC or a prototype to test the water. What is the problem? And we simplify the case and we implement. Basically, we do not take beyond 4 weeks when we are doing any prototype. With that, you will be able to understand what are your pain points, how this platform can solve your problems, and what kind of ROI. So you can basically, with gut feeling, you can guess, right? So once we recommend to have this POC or prototype within 4 weeks. Once
Okay.
that is done, that's where we build. Basically, we take it to the next level. So usually, in our experience, it takes minimum 12 weeks to build a production grade version of any medium to complex process. So into the production, into the which can make the live business, right? So
Sure.
then that's where on this foundation we start building, roll out this platform to multiple business divisions, because you will have similar problems that need to be addressed within the enterprise. So then once the foundation is done, usually it takes 6 to 8 weeks to deliver, to roll out same solution, because you can reuse a lot of code what you have built in this 3 months time frame.
Okay. I think we have time for one more question. So one question, and I'll be able to address this one. So sorry if I missed it, but the solution, was the solution built, deployed on premise or on a cloud? And was the solution built on locally or on premise? So maybe Harry, you can share from your two customers that you work on financial services, just to talk about hosting. Was it on premise versus cloud? And then I'll be able to address and say, what is also common and what we see today with the customers at Bonita.
Right, definitely. So in our case, these two financial customers, definitely in financial domain, data privacy is very important. They will have a lot of GDPR complaints and all those. In this case, we have implemented, so we have implemented on their within data centers, right? We did not have cloud. So because of the data privacy, so we implement the Bonita solution on local and then deploy into their data centers, right? So we did not use the cloud.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then to address what we see with our customers today, I see three types of deployments. Okay. The traditional one, of course, is the on-premise, where we used to have a more important customer base where, it was deployed, managed directly by our customers in their environments. The second is public or private cloud of your choice, or our customers decide to deploy on AWS, on Microsoft Azure. So there's no limitation, and we don't impose to say if you want to host it in the cloud, it has to be on this one. And the third is our fairly recent, but we've been doing that for a couple of years now. It's our Bonita Cloud offering, which is a platform as a service, a PaaS offering, where we host, manage, scale, and monitor directly the application for a customer in our cloud environment, which is an AWS environment. Okay, so it's not a SaaS model, pay as you use. It's really you delegate the infrastructure cost, the maintenance, the scalability directly to Bonitasoft, but we can imagine other scenarios where other system integrators, even such as Evoke, would also be able to guide and help as well in either choosing the right cloud environment or supporting your teams in maintaining also the infrastructure needed for the automation platform. Okay, Harry. So I think we have reached our 30 minutes for today's chat. It was really nice talking to you. I really want to thank you again for sharing, your experience on working with a couple of customers in financial services. So thank you very much. As a reminder, this session was recorded, so we will send you this video, and I apologize once again for not being able to show my face on the webcam. I don't know what happened. It seems to be frozen right now. So as usual, when we practice, it works, but on the demo phase, it seems not to be working. So I apologize once again. But Harry, thank you, and I really look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Harry. Bye-bye.